Hey there, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Happy Friday. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Obama Appreciation Week, month, years, retrospective, right? What a day we had yesterday. My gosh, my gosh. And we needed that. The timing of that just couldn't have been better. I've heard, many people like yourselves and people on social media have been saying, we had our July 4th, 250th early, right? Just an absolutely phenomenal between the what was happening in New York with the Knicks parade and contrasted with the opening of the Obama Presidential Library and all the ceremony, the music, the acts. You saw it all the people who came together. And highlight among it is we have ourselves a brand new Barack and Hillary meme that came out of that, right? When Michelle made the comment about Barack winning the Nobel Peace Prize and Hillary couldn't even hold it. She was like, and Barack turned around. He was like, "Girl, don't you start." Oh, it was amazing. Just top to bottom. And again, we certainly needed every moment of that. Of course, now we got Trump. Well, he's gonna build his bigger and better. He's gonna make his tall as Mount Everest or whatever. He was as green as that algae in the reflecting pool right now, green with envy. Right, that's all it is. He will never be able to receive and understand what it is to be loved and admired and respected the way that not just Barack Obama, but that entire family. Lovely to see their daughters having grown up to be these incredible young women. All of it, right? Trudeau and Merkel in like international figures as well. Just as they say, chef's kiss, no notes, right? Coming out of that, I want to get to a little couple of topics that some of you have reached out to me about, and I've got some niggles from Spirit on it. DHS detention centers. We've been really in knots about that. They're all that money that they got, and expanding and going out and buying this land. With the idea initially it was we're going to ship detainees out of the country. Well, that wasn't happening. Countries aren't accepting or they got to pay too much money. So then it became profitable. Go out and buy these warehouses around the country. Tremendous resistance. I've read on that before. Spirit has talked about tremendous resistance from many people who have refused to sell their land to the government, to DHS for the building of these warehouses. But that being said, we understand that DHS spent approximately $1 billion on warehouse facilities throughout the country that now they can't operate either because of personnel, because of threats of lawsuits, because of all sorts of other impediments that are arising. They can't run this. This was all what I'm getting from Spirit, you all, is like everything else, when they come up with these plans, it's so haphazard that it's just go do it and go spend it and go get it. But how it's actually going to happen, they didn't take the time to do that. So, oh, and also props. I did not know about this. Props and right on to the Choctaw Nation out of Oklahoma, who went and bought a facility, 1.24 million square foot facility, to block the purchase by DHS to build a detention center there in Oklahoma. Choctaw Nation, I hear you. All right. So again, as traumatizing as all of this is, and as long as the impact and the effects are going to be, we are not going to this is not going to go forward. And DHS literally, Spirit had me write down, ICE facilities are melting. Here's what I want to see: is in fact this the beginning of an end for a pullback and a peel back for ICE? We have the Six of Pentacles and the Hangman. I'll take it. Pause. Things being put on pause while they assess the money. And here's why I think I'm going to go to Spirit on it. You heard about that $352 million that Trump siphoned from the Secret Service funding, right? For the ballroom. That came to light. All sorts of things are coming to light. I'm wondering if part of this setup around peeling back, they're going to have to peel back. DHS is looking to they spent $1 billion. They're looking to try and offload this property. Is he looking now front looking to take money, start siphoning money off of DHS and ICE because it's a losing proposition for his own purposes. Spirit, is he going to slow this down? Because we didn't even have to work hard for it, y'all. There's the Emperor. That's my card for him. For front. There he is. He's at a point where he understands immigration, for all of the bluster and all of the brouhaha around it. Implementation has not and will not happen. Not to the extent that certainly that Stephen Miller wants it. And by the way, while I'm there, Stephen Miller's in some serious trouble, y'all, in terms of starting to get iced out, pardon the pun, iced out. The GOP Congress, these congressional people, GOP Congress folk who are starting to really get teed off with Trump, but they can't come out yet and directly attack or use his name or really, really push back. But who they can come at is Miller. And I'm going to scoot this to the side while I'm in the moment. Spirit, are we going to see the GOP turn on Stephen Miller as a means to mitigate Trump? Because we know so much of this policy, if you want to call it that, is coming from Miller. Posts on True Social coming from Miller. Spirit, is Stephen Miller in trouble? Is he going to come under investigation from Congress sooner rather than later? Page of Wands, it's moving. All right, somebody's starting to strike a match and light a fire. Some kindling, some kindling at the very least. It may not be a full blaze yet, but some kindling is out there. Is Stephen Miller in trouble? The Hierophant. That's Congress. That's the government. Stephen Miller's in trouble. And talk to me, Spirit. Justice. Okay? And again, what's interesting in the way that I'm getting it from the guide, you all, is it is about Stephen Miller, but increasingly these folks in the GOP are trying to figure out ways to get at front back end, right? We can't come at you directly. We're not going to make you think that we are fighting you directly, but the more we can peel off the people you rely and depend on, the people who are really calling the shots around you, the more we can do that. Yeah, the Hierophant, Justice, and the Page of Wands. It's in motion, you all. That is in motion. All right. Now, DHS facilities, these ICE warehouses, these detention centers, in trouble, not going anywhere, especially with the midterms coming up. They are, and I just was reminded, government funding is going to be a question again coming up right before the elections, right? If my timing is right, I want to say late September, October, somewhere in that time frame prior to the elections. So funding, continued funding for ICE, for DHS. Mark Wayne Mullen, no, I don't need, that was too many cards. I thought maybe Spirit was telling me to look at something. Mark Wayne Mullen, whatever. You all, a shift is occurring. I know we need to believe that. I know we want to believe that. I know we're almost, we're like, how many times we gonna hear it's occurring before we can say it's occurred? But like many things, we will see it in hindsight. We will see how clearly things were happening in hindsight. Yesterday, there was a feeling, a vibe. We saw government outside of DC. There were those who even said, accurately in some ways, that what we saw happening in Chicago yesterday felt like an inauguration of sorts, right? The entertainment, the joy, the gathering of dignitaries, the regular people partying in the streets, the speeches that were made directly tied to politics and U.S. policy and the direction of the country. All of it was extremely political and extremely viable. And it did not happen in D.C. And it did not happen by the current president, in quotes. But it certainly happened because of and by and through a president. All right. And all the presidents that were there as well. Bush, Bush and Michelle chuckling with each other. Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, it was just such an incredibly powerful time. And I think what we're seeing is, for all of the frustration, the way I'm hearing it from Spirit, y'all, is like for all of the frustration that everybody's feeling around the dismantling of DC, the dismantling of the White House, of the grounds, of the memorials, all of it. It is because there is a shift away from DC, whether that actually, constitutionally there's some amendment to move it out of DC. Spirit. Is the U.S., will there be a movement to actually relocate? I think I've looked at this before, perhaps, or maybe some other readers that I've seen have, and there was definitely some momentum around that. Will DC hold as the nation's capital? Let's ask it that way. Will DC hold going forward? Will DC remain the nation's capital? Or will there be some shift in government structure? Will DC hold as the nation's capital? The King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. That could be some proposal or somebody who begins to discuss that. Temperance, modification of some sort. And healing as well, though. When we get Temperance ruled by Sagittarius, Jupiter, it is about healing and the Four of Wands. No, I think it's going to hold in DC, but it's also going to require a recommitment in a big way and healing in a big way. And that healing and whoever this King of Wands is, I'm almost feeling like that could even be presidential going forward. Another president, or a really high-ranking political figure who champions the healing and I just heard repatching together, or there's a Chinese art form. I can't think of the name of it now. There's a Chinese, somebody please put it in the comments, where when something is cracked apart, like when China is cracked apart and then they put it together, but they put it together with gold and it becomes like even more beautiful and priceless and valuable, like artwork. That's what Spirit is showing me visually around DC. So yeah, I think the capital is going to stay there, the Hierophant, 100% government tradition. Okay, so DC is going to hold out, but that Temperance coming, it's going to have to be like a whole, they may just, tear the White House down and build a new one on that spot or something along those lines. All right, so DHS, done. And also because now, again, rather than DHS being his Trump's shining star and accolades that he thinks he can get around immigration enforcement, it's become an albatross around his neck. And he's like, well, look, we put a lot of money in that. I could use some of that money for my ballroom or whatever else, his so-called golden arches or whatever. So watch for that money as well, just like he took that money from the Secret Service. All right, you all. Unemployment insurance. There's threats that Trump is making around pulling back unemployment insurance from all of the states, unless they do something around fraud, proving anti-waste and fraud, blah, blah, blah. Like now? You really want to try and do something like that now with all of the things that your party, the GOP, is facing heading into the midterms, and now you want to yank unemployment insurance? Okay, let's see if that's going to go forward. Spirit, will the government, through Trump, will this administration pull unemployment funds from the states? Is he going to follow through on his threat to pull funds from the states? I have the Four of Wands. I think it's going to hold. That again is a marriage, a commitment, a pact, what the government has agreed to do. We know that much of the funding for unemployment also comes from the states themselves, but the federal government plays a role in that. So there's a commitment. Seven of Wands. People will fight. States will fight. Attorneys generals will fight on behalf of the people. 10 of Cups. All right. So please, if you perhaps are directly impacted by that or concerned about that, I think this may be something where certainly you're going to hear more about it. He's going to try, Trump will try and use it as leverage, remembering as well that J.D. Vance was put out. We heard a couple of months ago that his main primary job right now was supposed to be the war against fraud, right? But JD's being set up in a major way around Iran, right? Like, you see it, I see it. He is being set up, and he's just walking all into it. Maybe he thinks he's got some aces up his sleeve. That's going to be very interesting to see how that comes out. We have the star, keeping hope alive. Around this is around unemployment insurance, right? Keeping hope alive, but also a vision for how that funding is going to work long term. I am even getting with this Four of Wands and Ten of Cups on behalf of the people. We could see some reforms around unemployment compensation in the future, like guarantees or limiting executive power to do something like this, to even issue this kind of threat and be so intrusive in the affairs of states when it comes to unemployment claims. So I don't see it going anywhere. And strength. Thank you, Spirit. It ain't going nowhere. It's going to hold. The couple of reasons. Number one, I think this is also where the GOP, that Seven of Wands we got, where the GOP that is starting to circle their wagons and say, this is it. Like, this guy has, like, we are teetering on the edge of the cliff. We're in the car's tilting over. I'm getting Thelma and Louise vibes, right? Like, but they can't do it directly. That's the whole thing. They can't do it directly. So they're going to increasingly find ways to resist him, in ways that, don't necessarily call out his name, because they're still afraid. Nine of Swords. They're still very afraid of him. I mean, as absurd as it is because of his past, many of them are still Six of Cups. Many of them are still operating with Trump as this mythical, almost mythical cult-like figure of the past. They see, but they're not dealing with how diminished he is right now, and the fact that he's on the way out, like health or otherwise, for entertainment purposes only. They're not dealing with that version of him. They're dealing with the myth of the man. And that's what's making them afraid, still afraid. They're still afraid of the myth of what they see that he has been able to accomplish in the past, over the past 10 years. But they're going to resist him, and they're going to figure out ways to do it, again, by dismantling the forces around him. And going back to JD Vance, I think that's where he's going to play an interesting role, because he has no choice in some respects but to comply with the gauntlet that he's being sent down now with Iran, right? Got to do what he got to obey his marching orders. If he comes out and directly defies Trump, what are his prospects for the future? Not that he has any anyway. Spirit has spoken on that. But from his perspective, right? He's got to play along to get along right now. But he also understands that behind the scenes, there's within the GOP, there's a lot of dissension and a lot of anger and a lot of resentment and some fight. They're just trying to figure out, how to go at the bully, right? How to go at the bully. All right, you all, have a great weekend. Continue to enjoy. Again, as an African American, I am in my whites today, honoring my ancestors, honoring my history, honoring all of the sacrifices from so many generations who continue to inspire us, come in our dreams, talk to us, protect us, surround us, just as we walk on this earth with our chins up and our shoulders back, and we breathe, and we dance, and we sing, and we harmonize, right? Sky above us, earth beneath us. All right, I'll talk to you real soon. Be good out there. Bye.